is a shadowy figure that haunts the edges of sleep and consciousness, a terrifying presence that materializes when you're at your most vulnerable. Descriptions are chilling, a towering dark silhouette draped in the outline of a long trench coat, his face obscured beneath the shadow of a fedora. This sinister figure is said to appear after someone takes too much medicine, especially Benadryl, when the mind begins to slip into a haze, and the line between reality and nightmare becomes dangerously thin. Those unfortunate enough to encounter him describe an overwhelming sense of dread, a feeling as if the air itself has grown heavy and suffocating. The Hat Man does not speak, but his presence is undeniable. He moves in the dark corners of your room, watching with an unblinking gaze, and many who have seen him report that he does not just observe. He seems to lurk, waiting for the right moment to step closer, his form growing more defined with each passing second. The legend of the Hat Man was propelled into the public eye through TikTok, where countless accounts of eerie sightings flooded the internet. Some believe he is an evil entity, a harbinger of doom, while others think he is a manifestation of a disturbed mind. Whatever he is, one truth remains. Once you've seen the Hat Man, you may never feel truly safe in the dark again. Ponyville is a dark and twisted legend that slithers through the woods. Wisconsin, a hidden village. Earth itself seems to be something unnatural, nestled his rage, punishing those who dare to try. What's more unsettling is the down Mystic Drive. Return. Moncheville have an insane. They don't just they hunt those who stray, dragging them into the depths of their curses, never to be seen. Moncheville is not just a myth. It's a warning. If you hear the whisper of the trees, or catch a glimpse of tiny figures watching from the dark, in the 1950s, a haunting image began to spread across homes in Europe and beyond. A painting that seemed innocent at first, but carried with it an unspeakable curse. It was called The Crying Boy, a portrait of a tear-streaked child with eyes that appeared too knowing, too sorrowful, painted by Giovanni Bragolin, a pseudonym for the Italian artist Bruno Amadio. The image was mass-produced and hung in countless homes, unwittingly marking them with a dark and sinister fate. People who hung the crying boy on their walls soon began to notice strange, disturbing things. Appliances malfunctioned for no reason. Unexplained fires broke out, always destroying everything but the painting itself. Houses burned to the ground, leaving the cursed child's face untouched, staring from the ashes, his tears glistening like drops of blood. The stories were too widespread to dismiss as coincidence. One family reported their house burning down despite the flames being miraculously contained in every room except the one with the crying boy on the wall. The painting remained untouched, its eyes still weeping, its expression as empty as death itself. Over time, the legend of the cursed painting grew, and so did the fear. People claimed that if you owned the crying boy, you were doomed to suffer tragedy. It was said that the boy in the painting was no ordinary child, but the spirit of a soul lost to the flames, forever bound to seek revenge on those who dared possess his image. In the years that followed, the crying boy was Some say that if you find one of the paintings today, you should never look into the child's eyes, for if you do, the curse will follow you, bringing death and destruction, an unrelenting reminder that the boy's tears are never shed in vain. On the dark, mist-shrouded waters of the Platte River, there drifts a ship that should not exist, a ghostly vessel known as the Death Ship, first sighted in the mid-1800s. This eerie apparition has haunted the stretch between Alcova and Torrington, Wyoming, ever since. The ship, unnaturally gray and spectral, glides silently across the river's surface, its sails billowing in the windless air, as though propelled by something far more sinister than the breeze. But it's the crew that truly chills the soul. The sailors aboard the Death Ship are no men at all. They are phantoms, pale, hollow-eyed figures who stand motionless on deck, their faces twisted in eternal suffering. They move with an unnatural jerking motion, as though bound by some cruel force that will never allow them peace. No one has ever heard them speak, nor seen them react to the world around them. They simply drift, forever trapped on their cursed vessel. Locals speak of the ship's appearance as a death omen. Those who have witnessed it often report a sense of overwhelming dread, as if the ship is drawing them closer to the grave. Some claim that if you stare too long at the ghostly ship, it will come for you, its crew reaching out, cold hands grasping for your soul. Many who have ventured near the river never returned, Dublin, Wisconsin. If you ask around, some still swear it exists, or once did, but there's no trace of it now. This haunting urban legend tells the chilling story of a town that vanished from the face of the earth without a single explanation. In the 1990s, Dublin was a quiet, sleepy town nestled in the heart of Wisconsin, or so people believed. But as the years wore on, something twisted and unnatural began to happen. People who remembered living there, families, old-timers, even children, suddenly found themselves unable to locate the town on any map. And worse, no one else seemed to recall it ever existing at all. Some claim that Dublin was consumed by something darker, a malevolent force that swept the town away in the dead of night. Those few who still speak of it describe shadows that crept through the streets, strange figures that appeared in the corners of their vision, and an overwhelming sense of dread that permeated the air. Then, just like that, the town was gone. Its buildings, its streets, its people, all erased. Even stranger, a few brave souls who set out to find Dublin say they've seen it, standing there as if frozen in time, yet no one else can see it. They describe an eerie stillness, a ghostly reflection of a town trapped between worlds, as if Dublin had been swallowed whole by some dark void, its very existence erased from reality itself. Some say Dublin isn't gone at all. It's just waiting. And if you're unlucky enough to wander too close, it may pull you into the darkness with it.
In the shadowed expanse of Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland, a cold, dark statue loomed, a spectral figure known as Black Aggie. This life-sized, cloaked woman, with her face veiled in shadow, sat atop the grave of General Felix Agnes, her granite form exuding a chilling, otherworldly aura. By day, she appeared merely sombre and brooding, but as night fell, the true horror of Black Aggie was said to awaken. Legend tells that Aggie's eyes glowed red after midnight, casting an eerie light over the tombstones, watching anyone foolish enough to linger after dark. Locals swore that the air around her turned deathly cold at night, as though she was drawing warmth and life into herself. Whispers echoed through the town that those who dared meet her gaze would be haunted, plagued stone feet, but few made it close without recoiling. Those who reached out to touch her swore they felt Aggie's granite hands shift, her fingers stretching toward them, or the faint press of invisible hands gripping their shoulders, holding them in place. One night, a young man dared to spend the night under Aggie's watchful stare. At dawn, he was found frozen in terror, his face twisted in a silent scream. Rumours claimed that Aggie had drawn the life from him, leaving him nothing but a hollow shell. Today, Black Aggie is gone, removed from Druid Ridge Cemetery, but those who remember her say that if you wander near her former resting place on a moonless night, you might still feel her icy stare, hear the whisper of her stone skirts brushing against the earth, a reminder that her spirit lingers, waiting for the next soul to test her curse. In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldvert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. In the shadowed woods near Leicestershire, a creature of nightmare prowls. Black Anis, the dreaded blue-faced eyes is stained a haunting shade of blue, her iron claws gleaming with a terrifying sharpness, honed from years of hunting in the dead of night. Children and townsfolk alike know the tales of her hunger, a twisted craving for human flesh that sends shivers through the village. Black Annie's hides in a cave carved from the rocks by her own jagged claws, a lair littered with the remains of her grisly feasts. Animal bones, and some say human bones, line the ground, while the chilling stench of decay fills the air. As dusk falls, she slinks from her den, her clawed hands scratching along tree trunks, leaving deep gouges in the bark. Her piercing eyes, dark and unforgiving, scan the surroundings, searching, waiting. She has a particular taste for children, her long, spindly fingers reaching out to snatch any who wander too close to the edge of the woods. Many parents tell their children tales of Black Annie's, warning them not to stray after dark, lest they become her next victim. They say she hides beneath beds or crouches outside windows, her twisted grin visible just beyond the glass, savouring the fear of those trapped inside. Sometimes villagers claim to hear her unearthly wails in the wind, a bone-chilling howl that pierces the night. They say it's her call, a twisted lullaby that drags the unwary toward her grasp. On moonless nights, her figure can be seen creeping through the shadows, her blue face glowing faintly, iron claws poised to strike. Today, the legend of Black Annie's still haunts the children of Leicestershire, a ghastly spectre lurking at the edge of nightmares, waiting to snatch anyone who dares defy the tales of her insatiable hunger. In the dense, silent depths of Bradley Woods near Lincolnshire, a dark figure roams, the Black Lady of Bradley Woods, a spectre draped in endless mourning. She appears at twilight, her form shrouded in a flowing black gown that seems to absorb the very light around her. Her face is pale and sorrowful, framed by a long, dark veil that hides her eyes, but reveals a silent, haunting grief etched across her ghostly features. Legend says she was once a young woman, a mother whose husband went off to war, leaving her and their infant alone. But one terrible night, soldiers stormed the village, stealing her child and leaving her desolate. Consumed by a profound, unyielding sorrow, she wandered into the woods, where her wails of despair echoed through the trees. Now, her restless spirit haunts the forest, forever searching for the child stolen from her, an eternity bound to her endless mourning. Those who have seen the Black Lady say she moves without sound, gliding over the forest floor, her black dress trailing like smoke. Her presence brings a chilling, bone-deep cold, and her mournful cries pierce the night, carrying a sadness so intense it leaves an ache in the hearts of all who hear it. Villagers warn against approaching her, for those who venture too close feel an icy hand grip their shoulder, a desperate, lingering hold, as though she's begging for help. Some believe that if you call out to her, she will turn to you, lifting her veil to reveal hollow, grief-stricken eyes that seem to draw you into her despair. Those who meet her gaze are said to be marked by sorrow, plagued by visions of loss and shadowed by misfortune. To this day, locals avoid Bradley Woods at dusk, lest they encounter the Black Lady and her relentless sorrow, a tragic figure bound forever to her haunting search. search for the child she lost. shadowed streets of Eastern Europe, a terrifying tale circulates. The legend of the Black Volga. This sinister pitch-black limousine appears without warning, prowling through dim alleys and silent neighbourhoods, its polished exterior gleaming like dark glass, an ominous spectre of steel and shadow. Locals say it's no ordinary car, it's a harbinger of fear, a vehicle of doom, and those who glimpse its darkened windows sense an undeniable malice lurking within. Rumour has it that the Black Volga comes at night, its engine running in eerie silence, gliding across cobbled streets as though carried by the darkness itself. Its red headlights pierce the night like two burning eyes, casting an unnatural glow that seems to freeze anyone it catches in its glare. They say the car hunts for children, targeting the vulnerable and unwary. If you lock eyes with its empty, cold windows, you may vanish without a trace, spirited away into its shadowy depths. Witnesses claim that if you're lucky enough to escape its haunting approach, you'll hear only the faint hum of its engine and catch a fleeting glimpse of its occupants. Figures cloaked in black, faces hidden, eyes glinting like steel. Some whisper that these shadowy drivers are agents of something darker, perhaps the underworld itself, while others believe they are government operatives or supernatural entities with an insatiable hunger for souls. For decades, towns across Eastern Europe have warned their children, avoid the Black Volga at all costs. Stories of vanished friends, mysterious sightings, and close encounters fuel the legend, and parents pull their children close when darkness falls. To this day, some swear they've seen the Black Volga creeping through lonely streets under the veil of night, and if you ever spot its headlights glowing red in the distance, remember, there is no escape from the reach of the Black Volga. In the dark hours of night, when the world falls silent, a chilling urban legend creeps into the minds of those who've heard it. The tale of the black-eyed children. These sinister figures, resembling children aged between 6 and 16, have been reported on doorsteps, in parking lots, along deserted roadsides, and even knocking on car windows. Their pale skin and soulless black eyes, unmistakable and unforgettable. They appear vulnerable, lost, perhaps even in need of help, but there's something undeniably wrong about them. The stories are always the same. A lone person is going about the night when there's an unexpected knock. Upon opening the door, they find two children standing in the shadows, heads tilted down, hands clasped tightly. They speak softly, their voices eerily calm, asking to come inside, pleading to be let in. Please, we're lost, they whisper. We need to use your phone. Let us in. An inexplicable dread seeps into the air, an instinctive warning not to trust these children. Their presence feels wrong, alien. The unfortunate souls who've encountered them describe a rising terror, a sensation so primal it makes the hair on the back of their necks stand. These children will persistently ask to be let in, growing more insistent with each refusal, their voices slipping from gentle to unnervingly true horror, however, lies in their eyes, pitch black orbs, empty of any warmth, life, or humanity. Once the blackness of their gaze is noticed, the fear becomes inescapable. Witnesses describe an overwhelming urge to shut the door, to flee, as if staring into those eyes could drain one's very soul. Some unlucky individuals have reported letting the children inside, only to be overcome by feelings of despair and dread. Their homes feel darker, colder, and they report experiencing nightmares and a constant feeling of being watched. Those who survive such encounters claim their lives are never the same, haunted by sickness, misfortune, and a sense of something unseen lurking just beyond their vision. Legend has it that the black-eyed children are not children at all, but creatures of something older and darker, a malevolent force cloaked in the innocence of youth. They cannot enter unless invited, yet they possess a strange hypnotic pull, as if they can bend their victims' wills to their own. Those who encounter the black-eyed children speak of them in hushed voices, sharing only vague details, fearful of summoning them back by remembering too clearly. And for those who live alone, beware of unexpected knocks on your door late at night. Because if you ever hear a soft, insistent voice asking to be let in, resist the urge to open the door. Turn off the lights, stay quiet, and pray they leave before you catch a glimpse of their hollow, black eyes staring through the darkness, waiting. In darkened rooms, with only the flicker of a candle's light, the chilling legend of Bloody Mary comes to life. This haunting spirit, shrouded in mystery and dread, is said to appear in mirrors, summoned by those brave or foolish enough to speak her name. The ritual is simple, yet terrifying. Stand before a mirror, stare into your own reflection, and chant, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." Legend warns that calling her name unlocks a portal, a thin veil between our world and hers. As you chant, the room grows colder, the air thickening as if her presence fills every corner, lurking just beyond your vision. Those who have dared to call her say that shadows begin to twist, the flickering candlelight dimming as though something unnatural is drawing it in. And then, through the glass, she appears. A gaunt, hollow-eyed figure with a blood-streaked face, staring back with an expression twisted by agony, rage, or a cruel, mocking smile. Witnesses describe her as a vision of torment. Her long, tangled hair framing a face pale as bone, her eyes glinting with dark intentions. Sometimes she reaches out, her fingers clawing from behind the glass, leaving bloody smears across the mirror's surface. Others claim she whispers secrets of the future, a voice soft and chilling, or even laughs, a sound so cold it chills the blood. But beware, Bloody Mary is said to hold the power to curse, to haunt, waiting for her next victim. In hushed tones and whispered warnings, parents tell the terrifying tale of the blue star tattoo. This urban legend claims that beneath the guise of innocent, temporary tattoos lurks a deadly trap, a means of luring children into a nightmare from which they might never wake. Stories circulate of these small, colourful tattoos, often with a single bright blue star, handed out near schools, parks, or community centres. They look harmless, playful even, but these seemingly cheerful designs hide something dark. According to the legend, these tattoos aren't just stickers. They're laced with LSD, designed to seep into a child's skin upon contact, triggering powerful and horrifying hallucinations. The children are left defenceless, their minds plunged into vivid, chaotic visions as the drug takes hold, warping reality into terrifying shapes and colours. Rumours say the drug leaves children not just disoriented, but addicted, trapped in a cycle of hallucination and despair. Some tales are even darker, warning that children who come in contact with the blue star tattoo are never the same, scarred by visions they can't shake, haunted by shadows only they can see. Parents and teachers pass on the warning: if your child comes home with an unfamiliar tattoo, wash it off immediately and seek help. The danger, they say, is real, spreading unseen, like a predator preying on innocence. To this day, the blue star tattoo legend continues to instill fear, a sinister story to remind children that sometimes the things that look harmless hold the darkest secrets. And with each new telling, the shadow of the blue star spreads, its tale of silent terror lingering like a warning in the back of every parent's mind.